Look at these cakes.
Love it.
Welcome back, everyone, to episode 3 of Humanhood, a series presented by Casey Riley and
Melanie Peralta.
Humanhood is really about having intentional conversations that humanize the human experience and making personal development more personal. Boo.
Yeah, I mean, if you saw last episode
and this episode.
Okay.
What I'm going to kick us off with in just a moment.
Okay.
But before we jump into episode 3, let's shout out our amazing sponsor, I Do. Okay, I Do was originally developed and designed to be an elopement venue. And we are in the bridal suite right now, which is just so feminine,
So
soft, and beautiful. But they also have a groom suite and a whole other part of the venue where you actually can have your elopement there. But they have opened it up to all sorts of rentals now. Bridal showers, baby showers, anything that you have an event. And
I did a healed girl house party.
A healed girl house party. A holiday party, whatever it is. So if you are in the market of renting a venue, check out I Do, because it is so much more than an elopement venue. It's a venue for anything.
Yeah, well, now it's rebranded to I Do Experiences instead of I Do Elopements. It's here in Scottsdale, Arizona. So if you are needing an intimate venue, check out I Do Experiences.
Yes, and what I love about this venue is the number of bathrooms.
3 bathrooms.
3 bathrooms is unheard of at any venue, let alone one that's more intimate in size.
Yeah.
There's 3 bathrooms, people. So if you find value in that like I do, check out I Do. Okay, anyways, let's get into episode 3. I'm really excited to talk about all things wellness today.
Yeah.
I feel like the foundation of both you and I as humans, wellness is one of our major pillars in our life. And I know that we both have had our own journeys into the wellness space, and I want to get into that in a little bit. But first, I want to kick off this conversation sharing something very vulnerable.
Ooh, Casey's getting vulnerable.
I know. My heart's like pounding.
Oh my God, okay.
Yeah. You know, this is something I literally have not shared with anybody to this extent. And I just think that now is a really good time to, because I just had my final group session on Sunday.
Oh, of the year.
Yes, of the year.
Somatic breathwork.
Yes. So if you don't know, I'm a somatic breathwork practitioner here in Phoenix. I host monthly events. I go to masterminds, retreats, all the things. And my last event of the year was this Sunday. And so as I'm reflecting on the year and all of the events, like there's been a lot that has been coming up for me, because halfway through this year, I almost like called it quits.
Really?
I almost threw in the towel and was like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. And it was because my mental health was so bad. And I have never had mental health issues or problems my entire life. But this year was the hardest year on me emotionally. And it was scaring me. It was really, really scaring me. And I just thought, I don't know if I can hold space for people anymore. And a couple of things were the reason behind that. And the first one was just emotionally, I was a wreck all year. I mean, I find it really easy for me to go into these breathwork sessions or these plant medicine ceremonies, and like that's my time to unravel and feel my emotions. But I was feeling them all day, every day in my conscious state. And I was feeling emotions that I was not familiar with. I had never felt this amount of rage and anger and sadness and shame and disgust. Like all the emotions were just coming up randomly throughout the day. And I was sobbing like all day, every day, just crying, wanting to freaking punch a wall. Just so much stuff was coming up through me. And then in March, I have monthly group sessions. So starting March through June, I was feeling physically and mentally unwell after my events. Like I would come home and be unwell to the point where it was really scary. It's common for me to feel really tired after these events. Like, okay, I'm energetically depleted. We know what these events are like. That's natural.
Yeah.
But I was feeling unwell to the point where my body, I was like disassociating from my body. And I would walk into my house and I would like know I was in my house and I would see my husband and I would see my dogs, but like it was as if I was watching from a movie and I couldn't feel anything. And that was something I had never felt before, and it was really scary. And the more I felt that, the more scared I would get in the moment, and I would start to have anxiety. I would go into panic attacks, all of these things after these sessions. And I would literally like go to sleep and wake up and be like, am I normal? Am I back? Like I felt like I was losing my mind. And so when this happens after these events, month after month, I'm starting to check in with myself. What's going on here? What is feeling unaligned? Should I be doing this anymore? What if this happens in the middle of a session? And if this is a part of holding these sessions, is it worth feeling this way to continue doing this work? And I was just in such a deep place because first I have the emotional unraveling and then I have this and I'm questioning everything in my life and questioning my life's purpose and if I should do this, and I'm just like an emotional wreck and I'm not telling anybody.
I know. I'm like, bro, I had no idea.
No one knew that I was sitting at home, not even my husband, crying all day.
Why were you going through it by yourself? Why were you like suffering in silence?
I think there's like a number of reasons behind that. One, not wanting to burden people, which like I know that that's a silly story. But two, it was just so freaking hard that it made no sense in my mind. And I actually, like, I feel weird saying this, but I actually thought I was going crazy. And for the first time, I did tell my sister this. I'm like, do I have mental health problems? Like, is there something wrong chemically with my brain? Like, why is this happening? I don't feel like myself. I feel ill.
Yeah.
And I remember one time, like, it would slowly get worse, like month after month. And one time I just started, like, I lost it. I was sobbing. I was crying. I was in the bed alone, and Brian was home at the time. And I was like hugging him. I was like, I'm scared. I'm scared. And I don't know how to like convey what I'm feeling. Like, I don't know what I'm feeling right now. I feel just scared. I feel like I'm losing my fucking mind. And he was like, just like, go to bed. Just go to bed. Sleep it off. Like, it's going to be fine. So the more I looked into this, because I'm like, what am I feeling? There were a couple of things that came up, and I don't like putting labels or anything on any of this, but the feelings that I was feeling, what other people refer to them as, is depersonalization and derealization. Have you heard of that?
No.
Weird feeling to feel, and it's hard to convey, but it's pretty much what happens if you think of your iPhone, like, you know how it overheats and it literally shuts down. It needs a break to cool off and it comes back. That's what's happening in your body. There's too much stress, too much going on, and your brain is like, cool it, stop, go lay down. We need to cool off and come back. Like, you need a break.
Yeah.
And so when I heard about it from that perspective, and I started to understand, like, okay, this is normal for people to be going through this. There's too much stress. There's too much going on. Your body is literally saying, like, please stop, go lay down, take a break, and we'll come back when we have energy and we're rested. I started to bring some levity to the experience. Nonetheless, it still feels very, very scary.
Yeah.
But anyways, I say all this to say, you know, I started questioning, like, do I even want to keep doing this anymore? Like, are the sessions, is this what's causing my body to shut down, and why? Because nothing was changing in the sessions. Like, they were the same. They weren't any more intense or larger or anything like that. It was all just the standard sessions. And I felt so fulfilled. Of course I do.
Yeah.
But then an hour afterwards, my body was completely shutting down. And so I used it as an opportunity to like do a hard inventory check with myself. Like, what's feeling unaligned? Like, do I need to do something else? Like, where is this coming from? And I started to have a really hard conversation with myself. Like, I was like, when was the last time you had a conversation with yourself? I had one of those with me, and I was just questioning everything. Like, why am I doing this? Do I still want to do this? Like, be brutally honest with yourself. Why are you actually doing this work? And so I started to peel back those layers, and I decided to come in with a fresh perspective of take the pressure off of yourself. Go host your next event with no pressure, no nothing. Just show up and do this like out of pure like joy.
And love. Yeah.
Nothing else attached to it. Nothing like, don't assign meaning to how big your sessions are or how small they are, and take your ego out of it. Like, just go in and host the freaking session and see how it feels. And that next session was the August one where I met Nikki.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is where I met Nikki. And it was freaking full, completely sold out. And I'm going through this shit storm before. I'm looking at this room like, oh my God. Okay, Casey, like, here we are. You're being teed up this really big, beautiful session to really like challenge yourself and test yourself. But let's come in here with no pressure. Let's just have fun with it. Like, just have fun in this session. And so I ended up having it, and I was driving home, and I was thinking like, what if this happens? Like, what if this happens? And I'm like, stop it. Like, this happened 4 times out of your 2.5 years.
Yeah.
This isn't a thing, Casey.
Yeah.
Don't make it this. Like, go home, and if it does, it does. But like, don't expect it to happen. So I go home, and everything was fine. Everything was fine. Everything was fine. I'm like, okay, social proof. Start gathering social proof.
Yeah.
And so I really took each session after that with this new approach. Like, come back into this with full joy, without expectation. And I haven't felt it since. Gosh. Thank God. But I circle all this back to my last session was on Sunday. And it was such a beautiful session and such a relief that it was the last session of the year.
Girl, I know how you feel.
I was like, oh my God, you did that.
Yeah.
You made it through.
You did.
You almost threw in the fucking towel halfway through. And I remember when I thought to myself, when I was having that check-in, like, why are you doing this? I'm like, you could stop.
Yeah.
You could stop right now. But if you stop, like, I know you, Casey, that's going to be the end of you doing this work.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Because for me, if I get fearful of something, my pattern is to run and never go back.
Oh, okay.
And I'll stop.
Wow, okay.
And this time I was like, do not give the fear this power. Work through it. Explore, play, go into these sessions with curiosity. Let's shift the dynamic. And then afterwards we'll evaluate. But like, do not run from this like you've run from other things, because I've given up so many things in my life due to fear. Like, I don't want to give this up. I love it. I do enjoy it.
It's such powerful, impactful work.
Such powerful and impactful work. And it wholeheartedly has changed my life. And I just love facilitating it. But this year, I say all this again, it was fucking rough. Mentally, it was so hard.
Oh my God, Fred. I didn't know you were that.
I know.
You know what, though? You did sign up for a soul support session.
I did.
You didn't tell me about all of that.
I know, and that's why I did. I think, when was that? In May. May was Mental Health Awareness Month. Yeah, so I did sign up for a coaching session with Melanie, and kind of gave you a small window in, because what we talked about was the first time I kind of experienced that back in March.
Okay.
And then it was progressively getting worse. And at that point, again, I didn't open up too much about the extent of what I was feeling.
Yeah, you were a little vague about it.
I'm always vague.
A little bit reserved.
It's a pattern of mine to be quite vague. But I wanted to open up this podcast episode with that story, because we're diving into all things health and wellness. And a lot of times we focus on the physical health or our nutrition or all of these things. But I now realize how much mental health, like the stigma it has behind it. And the people in our positions who should have it together and shouldn't be experiencing this stuff, like your coaches and your bosses and your parents like are going through this stuff.
Yeah, but how unfair is it to think that the people who are always getting dumped on are not gonna feel some type of way at some point in time because of all that we do and all that we carry? Like, that is so unrealistic.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah, we're professionals at what we do. We do it at a high level, and our energetic hygiene and our spiritual hygiene is pretty top tier with the way that we take care of ourselves so that we can hold that type of space. But at the end of the day, we're human too, fuckers. Like, shit gets heavy for us too, you know? And man, if you've ever been in a somatic breathwork session, dude, the emotional purge to constantly be holding that type of space, like, man, I give it up to you.
Yeah.
For real. That's serious.
Yeah, thank you for that. And that's what I was evaluating too, because I'm like, are these sessions more intense than the other ones? Like, why? Like, what's the shift here? What's going on? But then I also was thinking that too. I'm like, not everyone can hold this type of space.
Right.
And I really needed that check-in,
Yeah.
a redirection back into why the heck am I doing this? Do I enjoy this? Yes, I do. Okay, how do I lighten my load? Because this load of just everyone's emotional releases is a load within itself.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
And even at retreat, I was like kind of nervous.
Really?
Because at this point, I now feel solid. Like, I don't think this is going to happen again. And if it does, I know what's going on. But retreat is such an immersive experience where afterwards, like, I'm not going home to my bed.
Right.
I'm still engaging with people and wanting to be interactive and go through the workshops. And so I'm like, Casey, just go in. And if you need to take a step, go lay in the bed and just regroup, calm your mind down, whatever you need. That's why I dipped out on the workshop after that.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm just going to go lay down for a minute and like close my eyes. But yeah, I was a little nervous going into retreat and it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Thank goodness, you know, but yeah. So that's mental health check-in. And it just gives me a better understanding and appreciation for people who are moving through this shit, because I even thought about this. I'm like, if I were to have these, going back to the emotional feelings, like unrelated to this, when I was younger, I get why people are addicts.
Yeah.
I get why people don't want to feel this stuff.
Or why they just dive immediately into antidepressants.
Yeah.
And like, that's the only avenue that they explore.
I get it. And then people don't have the luxury that I do of working from home and being able to unravel and cry on some random afternoon. People have families. They're at work. They can't do this. They don't have the time to process it. And so it gave me a deep appreciation for people and what they're moving through. And now I'm like, if anyone says anything about mental health, I'm like, you take care of you.
Yeah.
Because this is real and it can take you down.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny that, you know, going into like how healthy we are as far as like how we eat and like our lifestyle and the supplements and things like that we take. I was on a podcast not too long ago where I was sharing, because she's like, so you're like a hardcore into wellness, right? I'm like, yeah, but me getting into wellness and me deciding to eat cleaner and just live healthier had nothing to do with, like, honestly, it really didn't have anything to do with having like physically being healthier, I guess, in that way. For me, it was more of a spiritual process. My decision to start eating clean, eating organic, eating whole food, shopping at the farmer's market, doing all of that stuff was because when I went on my spiritual journey and I was deep in my spiritual awakening and I was learning about consciousness, and I shared this in the other podcast too, when I was learning about consciousness, what I learned is that the more pure your vessel is, the more available it is to receive consciousness at the highest level. So I wanted to be conscious. I wanted to experience being truly awake, aware, and alive, you know? And I was like, shit, well, if I am constantly poisoning the vessel that carries my consciousness, I'm not going to be able to receive the divine intelligence because I'm not in vibrational alignment for it. And my vessel is literally clogged up with poison that divine light can't even move through me, you know, in the way that it needs to, which is exactly why, like, drug addicts addicts and alcoholics, like they are so under a spell of toxicity that they can't even receive divine intelligence, messages from God, intuitive hits or whatever, or at least be able to process them properly.
Yeah.
And so for me, like, I didn't start eating organic because I wanted to, like, get fit. I
Look
was like,
good? Yeah.
no. When I first started, it was like, this was about being able to connect with God. This vessel that is built by the divine, that created all of these things for me to flourish in my divine way. And I'm not eating any of what God created for me.
Yeah.
I'm eating all this bullshit that man created.
Yeah.
You know? And so that was like my thing. And it was a huge shift for me. Cause even like working out and stuff, girl, I mean, I used to be so physically insecure. Girl, I wore a fake ass for years of my life. I wore padded panties for like 2.5 years of my life, bitch. I'm not kidding. Like before BBLs were a thing and you would go to the store, there would be like padded bras and padded panties. And like, girl, I wore them things out.
I love when you share that story because it's freaking, like, most people stuff their bras when they're little. You're stuffing your ass.
Well, this is fucked up though. This is fucked up, but it's because at a young age, I observed that that's what men like, is a big fat ass. Because even as a little girl, I had men say inappropriate, grown ass men say inappropriate things to me. Like, ooh, you're going to have an ass like your mom. Or, oh, yeah, you're going to have a nice ass when you get older. Like grown ass men when I was like little, you know? So that planted the seed in my mind that that's what's appealing.
Yeah.
And that's what guys like. That's what's like. And then I just remember at school, like that's what the little boys liked. There was like a girl who had a big old butt and then like they liked her. And I'm like, cool, that's what I need. So, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
that was not my experience growing up.
What you were? What was yours?
It just wasn't like the whole big butt thing. I guess like men always like big boobs.
Okay.
I guess.
Okay.
But that really never influenced any insecurity on me. Like I've always loved my little ass boobs.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm like, that's great that you love that, but like me, I'm good over here.
Yeah, no, it affected me so much. And then like when I got older and learned like you could get a fat ass just from working out.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I was working out so hard. Honestly, I was like at the most fit I had ever been in my life. And my natural body was stunning. And I still wore the fake ass. I could, like, it was so deep for me, dude. But at that time, my paradigm around working out was only to look a certain way. Yeah, it was like so ingrained into my mind that exercise wasn't about being healthy.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, but that was all before I had even woke up to, that was like in high school.
Yeah.
Like that was before my spiritual awakening. So when I did have my spiritual awakening, obviously I revolutionized my relationship with food and the true purpose of food to fuel my vessel. But then I had to revolutionize my relationship with exercise.
Yeah.
And you know what I will say? Parasite cleansing has helped me do that. Like cleansing has also helped me do that as well, because every single choice that I make for my body has nothing to do with how I look.
Yeah.
Like all the detox stuff, it's all about purity of my vessel. Working out, making sure that I get a sweat in, all of that, all those different things. It's like, it's because I love you, not because I don't love you.
Right.
And everything that I did before, it was like, I'm doing all this because I don't love my body.
Right. That was my experience also, but it always started from loving my body. So when I got into health and wellness 12 years ago, I used to have like cystic acne all over my face. Really? I was so constipated. I would not shit for a week. I was full of shit. I would not shit for a week. And my skin was just completely broken out. And I was feeling so nasty and toxic to the point where I wouldn't want to leave my house because my skin was so bad. I was embarrassed of it. And I just felt gross. And so I remember it was around Christmas time, and I'm like, I'm getting a juicer. I'm getting a juicer, and I am changing my lifestyle so I can fix my skin. So I guess it would be more aesthetic to start off with.
I feel like most people,
it takes something like that.
It takes something usually, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
For the average person, it's like,
we need a little kick, a little jump start.
Yeah.
So everything I was eating and consuming was really, is this going to like help my digestion? And is this going to make my skin flare?
Yeah.
And that was the thing that really pushed me into the wellness space. But once like I started to see my skin clear and finally go to the bathroom, everything that I do now is always for like the better of my body.
Right.
Like it's never been about weight. Like again, it has been about aesthetics for my face for sure. But nothing about...
That's a tough one though, man.
That's a tough one.
That's a tough one.
So,
when it's on your face, man, that's tough.
Oh my gosh. Like I feel for people. I still struggle with blemishes, but when I wake up now, even if I have a few, I'm like, I will take this over any of my past days. Thank you, God, for just this one little thing on my chin, you know, because it was bad to the point where like I would touch it and it would like swell up and it would just hurt. And I was on antibiotics for an entire year. An entire year of doxycycline. And I went back at the year mark and I was like, what else can we do? She's like, well, take 2 a day. And I was like, hell no. No, this is messing up my gut. It's messing up everything. I have to heal from the inside out.
Yeah.
And that's what got me into this space.
Yeah.
And my true love and obsession for health and wellness.
Dude, okay, hold on. On the topic of being human, it frustrates me so much that being into health and wellness is like a hobby or an interest. Same thing with personal development. I say this all the time. It is vital for being a human. You shouldn't just be interested in health and wellness. You should know about health and wellness like you know your fucking ABCs, bitch.
Yes.
Like straight up. You should know what is harming your body. You should know what's helpful for your body, because that is one of the most greatest keys to happiness as a human. When you feel like shit, bro.
When you don't take a shit?
When you don't take a shit, you feel like shit.
You physically feel ill and unwell.
Yeah.
Oh, but no, I love that you said that. Like, this is a just like we talked about communication, it's a fundamental skill that people need.
Human skill. That's why I embed it into Vakai so much. Like, that is one of my greatest accomplishments in life. Is the health consciousness that I have instilled into my son from such a young age. Because like I taught him from a young age that food is fuel, that you nourish your body. Yes, you can have a little bit here and there because you take care of your body so well that your body is going to be able to process any junk that you do as long as you don't put too much in, especially all at once. And it doesn't matter how it tastes. If it's good for you, you do it. So he'll ask me, like, I'll offer him something. He's like, "What, does it taste good?" I'm like, "No, not really." And then his second question is it good for me? I'm like, "Yep." He's like, "All right, I'll have it."
Dose me up. Some sea moss. I see him eating his little sea moss in the morning.
Oh, he's hardcore, man.
Yeah.
He'll take his tinctures just straight up. He don't care. He started chewing up spirulina tablets. Bro, they're not chewables.
They're not. They are not.
He started chewing them things up when he was 2.
Oh my gosh.
Like, and he loved it. So I'm so proud of the health consciousness that I'm instilling in him, because I didn't grow up that way. I know we talked about that before. Is like, you're like, no, we kind of had like, you know, my mom was fairly healthy, but I had a lot of really bad acne in junior high when I was going through
puberty.
There you go. I forget what puberty is anymore, because you can choose whether you want to do it or not.
Oh God.
We won't go into that today.
Different episode.
But when I was going through puberty, I was getting such bad acne. And I remember like thinking my dad had bad skin when he was younger, thinking, oh, it's just because of my dad.
Right.
No, bitch. It's because like my dad would work all day. So it was like during the summertime and stuff. And like I was such a lazy kid, just home by myself all day. There would be days when, I kid you not, all I ate all day long was a fat bag of lime hot Cheetos.
Ugh.
Dude.
Yeah.
If somebody would have told me all you have to do is eat healthy and your skin will clear up.
Right.
Bro, nobody told me that. And oh my God, like it's just, it blows my mind how okay the masses are with knowing nothing about how your body truly functions and what it really needs and what is actually harming it.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited for the health, revolution to continue unfolding, because there's looking like there's some promising changes that are on the horizon, and I hope they come through, because our country is failing our people like massively.
You know what's so interesting? Like, I kind of just assume people know this stuff because this is my world. And like a lot of the people I associate with are very health conscious as well. But even I kind of put this expectation on people who I just think and assume they're health conscious. Like even people in our circle, like our friends of facilitators and stuff. I'm like, oh, they are probably just as healthy as me. And then at retreat, we realize that this is a major thing that people are struggling with and need support with, making better decisions, learning more, eating better. And I'm like, oh, damn, not everyone operates this way.
No, because we're in this world, we forget, like we're so in our bubble, we forget that majority of the masses are not fully aware of all of those things. And like, I posted some videos over the weekend of like me in Payson with my family, and I did this shot of like us all around the table, and there's like, as I'm watching it back, there's all of these products on the table that I would never consume, like, and my family, like, they give me shit for it. They're like, oh, she doesn't eat this or she doesn't eat that. And I'm pretty I give myself space and grace depending on what season I'm in. Sometimes I go really fucking hard and I'm like, nope, I'm bringing all my own snacks. I ain't eating anything out of what I'm eating right now. But then sometimes I'm like, I'll have the cinnamon roll.
Have a couple chips, whatever.
So it just kind of depends. But they've seen me in seasons where we go to family dinners and I'm like hardcore cleansing and I can't eat anything. Or I eat before I get to dinner and I'm just there to be with them. And then like this past weekend, I'm done with my cleanse. And so I'm like, bring on the bacon, Sure. Like I'll have chorizo and eggs and papas for breakfast. Like I don't eat that heavy for breakfast like that, but it's interesting because when I'm with my family, especially, that side of my family, I'm the weird one. I'm weird. To them, it's weird. My mom's like, Melanie's always drinking green stuff.
Yeah, it's good.
True.
It's funny because Brian's family are now like turning over a whole new leaf.
That's how my dad and his wife are, which I'm so happy about.
They're making so many healthy decisions. But when I first met Brian, which was 15 years ago, long time. Like
Brian's her husband, by the way.
Yes, Brian's the husband. They were not health conscious at all. And slowly, and I would be the person like bringing my own stuff to Thanksgiving dinner, and then they start asking me like, hey, like, what do you want? And we'll start making it, and then they're like, well, maybe we should just have this. And now they're like completely different people. They look so great. And it really shows that, you might be the weird one for a while, but I've never pushed anything on them. Like they're my in-laws. I would never do that. Like
wrong way to go about it. Like if you're showing up in pushy energy, if you're showing up in shameful energy or guilt energy, like that's not the vibe.
And I used to show up that way on social media. Like when I first started my page 12 years ago and I was just getting into this, oh my God, queen of subconsciously shaming people. I'd be like, you gotta do this. And if you're not doing this, da 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 da. And then I learned like, just be the example.
Yo, that is so key. Ding, ding. ding, 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 ding,
ding, ding.
That's a key right there. Like, people do subconsciously shame.
Oh, yeah.
I cannot stand that type of energy.
But back then, I didn't realize that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
I thought I was just sharing my journey, but I was making a lot of extreme statements. Like, no one should ever be eating this or whatever. I'm like, actually, all of us are so different. And you might be able to eat the cinnamon roll, but that will break me out.
Yeah.
Like, we're different.
Yeah.
And when I leaned into that energy again, like kind of circling back to earlier in the conversation, like taking the pressure off of everything.
Yeah.
Let everyone live their fucking life. You live your life. Just do you, be you, and just give people the information without being so extreme and direct.
Yeah.
They will start to pick up on what feels good for them. And I've seen it with Brian's family. And it's like the cutest thing ever. His brother, his mom, his dad, they're just like the most precious people ever. And now they're like, no, like we're having the salad or we're having this. Like, we don't do that anymore. I'm like, guys.
Like, proud moment.
Not to say I did that, but I do think I contributed to it.
You did. Of course you did. Yeah, of course you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always the best when people start to embrace it in their own time. Because, again, that's how my dad and his wife are. And it's like, all right.
It's sweet.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, but the level of, like, extremism, that's a human pattern that I notice is, like, humans... we can be so extreme. We go from one extreme to the next. It's like we're like hardcore eating junk, and then we're like hardcore vegan.
Oh yeah, that was
and then
me.
it's like we end up kind of eating vegan junk.
Yeah,
we're like so hardcore vegan that then we go okay from this we go all the way to this, but some way or another, the big human pattern that I see is we go from one extreme to the next, and then we find our way in the middle. And I'm seeing that happen right now a lot in the wellness space of a lot of people being like, yes, I'm super health conscious and I'm super particular about what I put into my body. And every now and then I indulge in a donut.
Totally.
And that's okay, you know, because our society has created certain treats that are just fucking delicious and worthy of eating.
Ice cream at LGO.
Dude.
Mint chocolate chip.
You're a mint chocolate chip girl?
1,000%.
Really?
It is my favorite ice cream. You put mint chocolate chip in front of me,
Really?
I will eat it. Oh, yeah.
Wow. I'm shocked.
I know, right?
Yeah, I mean, you are weird, so.
I love mint chocolate chip. The best.
Okay. I like mint chocolate, so I could see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So good. But talking about the extremism, because I am definitely an extremist.
Yeah.
1,000%. And I do find that pattern with me. Like, I'll go super extreme and then I'll find my way back into the middle. But I feel like most of us need, again, something to set us off into a different direction to bring us back. But what I have found in my extremism is the stress and pressure of being extreme. Even if you don't think you're stressing out about it, the subconscious stress is more harmful than eating the food. And I'll give you an example. I went sugar-free for 3 years. Wow. Completely. No fruit, no ketchup. No fruit, no ketchup, anything that had sugar in it, gone. Because I went through a wave of healing my skin when I was younger, went through that whole transition, then it flared and came back. And I was like, okay, well, what is it now? What do I got to fix? You know? And so I'm like, sugar, let's remove the sugar. And then completely cleared up. I have pictures. Maybe I'll insert them here if I can find them. Completely cleared up. And I'm like, sugar was the thing. Then I'm living my life and my fucking skin pops off again. And I'm like, it's not the fruit. I'm not eating fruit. It's not the ice cream. I'm not eating ice cream. So what is it? There's something else. And when I had that realization, again, it was supportive and it gave me a lot of awareness on my habits and what sugar I was consuming and education about sugar in general.
Right.
But then I was like, it's not the fruit. I'm not having it. And I want fruit. Fruit's delicious.
It's so good
Fruit's
for you,
a gift
bro.
from God. Oh my God, it's so good.
God, it is.
And so I'm like, I'm going to start eating fruit again. I'm going to start having these sweet treats. How can I take the pressure, the subconscious pressure off of me? Because I know it's something else. It's unrelated to food. Maybe it's emotional. Maybe it's all this other stuff going on.
Yeah.
And so I share all that to say the extreme is being stressed out, and I like to say subconscious stress, because sometimes like from the outside it doesn't look like we're stressed, but the pressures we put on ourselves internally will start leaking out in all sorts of ways.
Right.
And so that's when we find that beautiful balance back to how can I still live life and find this balance of enjoying sweets or whatever it is without being so hard on myself.
Yeah.
And then and that's a whole process, because now you're eating the ice cream and it's like, I shouldn't be doing this. Like, what if this happens? What if it breaks me out? And it's like, how much can I relax and enjoy this ice cream with my husband outside at LGO? Like, not everything has to be fixed. Not everything's causing a problem.
Yeah. And the body is incredibly resilient.
Yeah.
Like, we used to live out in the fucking jungle, not washing any of our food. We forget that, like, this body is intelligently designed to deal with bullshit.
Yeah, to overcome little things here and there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And another thing too is, this has been my belief forever, especially when it came to like raising Vakai, because when they're little and you become a health conscious mom, in the beginning it feels really easy to want to be like a control freak about every single thing that they eat or they can't eat and all of that. But I'm like, if I protect him from every toxic food or every unhealthy food out there, he is going to become so sensitive. If he's never exposed to any bullshit, his gut is going to not have any resilience to it. So I'm like, he's allowed to have a little bit of this here and there, because the last thing that I want to do is safeguard him from all of that stuff at such an extreme level that the first time he is ever exposed to it,
diarrhea,
it's like a huge problem. You know, it's kind of like the way that, like germs work, you know, like you have to have a little bit of germs to build up your immune system. You know, like I looked at it like that type of way. And I still believe in that to a degree. I'm like, my body can handle a little bit of this because I do this. But if I stay away from everything entirely, who's to say that if I get exposed to it one day that I'm gonna not do well with it?
Totally.
Yeah.
I always laugh because I'm someone who doesn't really wash their fruits and veggies too much.
That's so funny. Why was I thinking about that on the way here?
What about you washing your fruits and veggies?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I will wash them, you know, but I know people who like soak them and ozonate them and do all this stuff. And I'm like, okay, take my Branch Basics, once with a rinse or two, boom, and I'm eating it. And I'm like, should I be doing this more? But then I think back, I'm like, we never wash this shit with all these sprays and all this stuff. And I know pesticides and stuff has changed, so it requires a different of hygiene. But to your point, I don't want to like sensitize myself so much that when I go to Mexico, I'm getting sick.
Yeah, when I go to Mexico.
You know, I go to Mexico often. I want the salsa and I don't want to get a parasite. You know? And so like, I like go easy on myself with stuff like that. And I kind of laugh because when I have those friends over, I'm like, I'll really wash the veggies for you guys. But when it's just me, it's a quick little, boop, I'm eating it.
Another thing too is like, as a human, just know your body, bro. Learn your body. Pay attention to your body. Study your body. Pay attention to what works for you and what doesn't. When you eat this, this is how you feel. When you eat this, this is how you feel. Well, you know, like, pay attention, because again, one thing that affects you is not going to affect me. And because we live in the world right now where social media, everything and everyone is telling you, this is good for you, this is not good for you, eat this, don't eat this. No, some things might be great for you. Like, because I do the Parasite cleanse, you know, the Rogerson community is hardcore, like, stay away from sushi and fish and like just be mindful of that. But my body thrives when I eat fish.
When you eat a sushi roll.
Dude, no, like when I eat just like certain fishes.
Yeah.
I feel like my body loves it.
Fish is good for you. The omega's in it.
Yeah, my body loves it. So I'm like, I am not going to stop eating poke, but I'm going to commit. Because, dude, there's something about a super fresh poke bowl from Chula Seafood.
Absolutely.
That just like nourishes my whole being.
Straight protein on a bed of greens.
Yeah,
what could be better?
That's why I am so committed to cleansing 2 to 3 times a year.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, because in other countries, they parasite cleanse regularly. It's just a part of the culture. Like it's not even like this trendy thing. It's just like they grew, like a friend of mine, he was like, yeah, my mom used to parasite cleanse us when we were kids. It was just like a normal thing that we did every year.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's very common, and now it's like a whole trending thing.
Yeah, well, I'm glad it's trending. It needs to be trending because people are so unaware that half of the ailments that they're experiencing are literally because they've got parasites inside of them.
Yeah.
So
I remember the first time I did a parasite cleanse. I've been doing parasite cleanses for probably like 10 years.
Shut up.
Yeah, like when I got into this whole thing, remember I was searching for answers to clear this freaking skin. I put a piece of garlic up my vagina.
Oh my God. I thought about doing that one time because I read it on I didn't do it because I was scared to get lost up there.
You know what happened?
What?
You start tasting the garlic in your mouth.
Stop.
Stick it up there. So the reason why I did it was because when I was sitting at home constipated with cystic acne, I was on antibiotics, which kills your gut flora and your vaginal flora. I was also on birth control at that time for 10 years. So my whole system was completely jacked up.
Yeah.
And I was getting yeast infections.
Oh, yeah.
And I've never had them before that. And I haven't had them since once I cleaned everything up.
Yeah.
But it was so uncomfortable. And I was going the more natural route at this point. And I heard garlic will kill it. So I shoved a piece of raw garlic up my vagina. I will never forget. And literally I'm sitting there because it's like, keep it in there for 30 minutes or whatever. And I'm
tasting it. I'm like, yo, that garlic must have been potent.
It was coming out my mouth. And I literally, those were the moments where I'm sitting there like, what the fuck are you doing, Casey? Like, what is wrong with you? Like, fix yourself, heal yourself. Like, you just shoved garlic up your vag. What the
that garlic pussy. God damn. Brian's like coming home. You're like,
tastes a little good.
I got garlic pussy today. I don't know. You decide. It's up to you.
Listen, some people like garlic.
Could be a fetish.
Yes. But anyways, I was doing, how did we get into this? Parasite cleansing back in the day. I remember my very first cleanse, I shit out a massive freaking worm. And I was fascinated. I love this stuff. I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. And I know a lot of people are like, ew, I'm scared. I'm like, they're in you anyways.
Better out than in.
Yeah, I just poop them out and it's actually quite fascinating. So ever since then, I would do them a couple times a year because I grew up going to Mexico so often and I just go all the time.
Yeah.
And so it was just kind of like this innate thing that I love to do. Now I do the Rogers Herd one. I've done a lot of the different ones and they're all been really wonderful, but I love hers.
Yeah.
I think
Shout out to Rogers Hood Apothecary.
Yes, I think I'm finishing up on the cleanse that I got from you in the next week. I'm like nearing the end of my tincture. So yeah, another parasite cleanse down. Good. And honestly, you feel so good. And you know when you pass a worm, even if you don't see it, it's like this energetic, like something feels different in your being. Do you feel that way too?
I don't think I've connected it to I've passed a worm, but I just get to a point in the cleanse where my energy is, I'm like a superhuman,
totally.
Bro. I'm like, it's like this mid-cleanse energy boost that you get where it's like, my body feels pure.
Yeah.
Like, rock solid consciousness is pulsing through my veins.
Rock solid consciousness.
I feel so alive.
Yeah. It's probably because you passed a worm.
That worm was dragging you down.
Literally, I'll feel it. Like I go to the bathroom and it's like kind of a tough one, you know? And then it go? And I'm like, that was a worm. That was serious energetic release. And I feel so good. Woo! Yeah, totally.
Well, on that note, everybody should Parasite cleanse.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, we will get a promo code and we'll put it in the we'll put it somewhere somewhere on here. That way you guys can look into it and just
feel
detox that body, baby.
Yeah, feel what we're talking about. That rock solid consciousness garlic pussy.
I don't know about that one.
Listen, if anyone out there...
Hold on, did it work though? You didn't say if it worked.
No, because I just put it up there once. And like I had all
was it supposed to be like a garlic pussy regimen or what?
What worked was, let me tell you what worked.
What?
Getting off birth control, quitting my antibiotics, and getting my life in check.
Yeah.
That worked because after all of that, all those issues went away. I was shitty, no yeast infection, no acne. I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah, it is.
But then you think about, I know we talked about how like we did have healthier food in our house growing up. But once I hit middle school and college and middle school and high school, and we had lunch money, I was not eating healthy.
Yeah.
I was eating the Funyuns and the Pop-Tarts and the soda.
Crazy that they give that to
bagels,
kids at school, dude.
Drinking, smoking. I was not a healthy person. And then the birth control and the antibiotics, I mean, that was a cocktail for whatever was happening. It makes sense. Hormonal disruption.
Straight up.
And then when I got off the birth control, all the shit came back. It was crazy.
Wow.
It was absolutely wild. So it's this like journey of like uncovering. And what I find is that it's just peeling back the layers to your purest self.
Yeah.
Because all these things are Band-Aids.
Yeah.
All of them are Band-Aids. And the more you release it and let it go, you're just coming back home to just you.
Yeah. Yeah. Explore, man. Explore your body. Explore yourself. Like, don't give a fuck if your family or people are making fun of you for it, especially if you don't come from that. Like, just open yourself up to the world of information out there that could truly heal you and change your life, and detach an identity of being a wellness, healthy person. Yeah. It's a human thing to know what works for your body and what doesn't. Like, that's a human thing, all right? Take all the other labels off of it. You need to know it, period.
Okay, so let's like lighten the mood a little bit.
You mean the mood hasn't been lightened? Bitch?
No,
we're just talking about garlic pussy.
Okay, so with all of this health consciousness, like we also kind of like got to rag on ourselves a little bit because we are a little extreme and we are a little crazy sometimes when it comes to this stuff. Well, I know I am. So I want to talk about wellness red flags. What is something that you do in your life that makes total sense to you, but to an outsider, it makes zero sense?
Well, I'm not a super extreme person. So like when I like thinking about this question, the first thing that comes to my mind.
Oh gosh.
The first thing that comes to my mind is my wellness red flag is that I prioritize sunshine and vitamin D so hard that every time I get the opportunity to, I will sunbathe naked at a stranger's house.
At a stranger's house?
Wait, that sounds crazy with no context.
Okay.
So, Jen, my best friend, she'll dog sit for people and she'll ask them like, she'll ask them like, can I have like my friends over? And they're like, yeah, you know, like I have a couple friends over or whatever. So anytime Jen dog sits at people's house, every opportunity that I can get sunshine on my full naked body, I am taking that shit because there's so much science behind just getting sunshine even just through your fucking nipples, okay? So I'm like, I live in a condo in Scottsdale. Yeah. There's no way I'm going to be able to lay out naked. So anytime Jen is dog sitting for somebody, she'll call me and she's like, hey, like if you want to come lay out, you can. And I'm like, on my way right now.
What if there's a camera?
Well, she always asks that. And then,
what did she say? are there cameras in the back? Because my friend wants to tan ass naked.
No. She's just like, are there any cameras that I should be aware of?
Okay.
Like, you know? And usually the answer is no. But honestly, I wouldn't give a fuck even if there was cameras. That's my red flag. I'm like... hello.
Okay, I love tanning and tanning naked for those reasons, but I would not do it out of straight ass.
I don't even want to call it tanning. I want to call it sunbathing. Because yes, the color is great. I love to get the color, but I want to soak up the sun with my whole body.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good one. Mine is... So... I really don't like to take pharmaceuticals or anything like that. And this whole vaccine situation, flu shot, don't even come at me with that. Well, when the whole vaccine was coming out, I was super against it for all these reasons. We don't know the studies, da-da-da-da-da. Meanwhile, I'm driving down the road to go to a combo ceremony where someone is about to burn my skin and put frog poison on my body so that I can self-induce a flu, essentially.
Fuck, when you put it like that?
A frog poison from who knows where this frog is
Who got this poison?
Is it an original frog or is it a man-made frog? I don't fucking know, but I will burn my skin and put that on, but don't come at me with the flu shot.
Yo, that is so fucking funny when you put it that way.
And I thought about it. I was driving down the road you make no sense. This is crazy.
Have you, I don't know what it's called, but it's some sort of plant medicine. It's an eye drop.
The Sananga?
Yeah, okay, that's what, dude.
I haven't done that.
Oh no, I've been offered it multiple times and I'm like, what does it do? And they're like, oh, well, you put it in your eyes and it burns the fuck out of you. And then
opens your third eye.
I'm like, no thanks. I'm good. I'll stick to the weed.
Exactly.
Oh, cool.
Oh, I feel like that conversation went all over the place, per usual.
Yeah.
We started with mental health. We went into Parasite, garlic pussy, the whole thing. And any last final words that you have to say on this topic or any last minute flags you want to share with us?
No, just the message to the people, again, just driving it in even deeper is honor your experience as a human when it comes to your body and what your body is telling you and what works for you. Build a relationship with yourself. That's one of the greatest acts of self-love that you could possibly do. It's human to be imperfect, so don't feel like you have to be flawless about it. Just be willing to explore and put in the effort to be a healthier human.
Yeah, and I think for me, my final words on all of this is I know that a lot of people are struggling with health conditions.
Yeah.
I know that there's a lot of people experiencing physical symptoms, mental symptoms, whatever it is. And I know it's so rough. Clearly, I shared with you that I had my own journey with that multiple times. But these are beautiful signals that our body is giving us to stop, check in, and reflect with our life's circumstances when we are in tune with our bodies and we have a relationship with our bodies versus just living on default mode and then dealing with this because these are the cards that you were dealt.
Right.
And so if you are someone who's experiencing anything with your mental health or physical health or anything, honor that. And what a blessing that our bodies are giving us these signals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to your body. All right, you guys. Until next time for episode 4.
Yes.
Bye.